welcome to The Leak. So it's been about 2 weeks since the election and I have somehow found the strength to keep existing as your host, Rose Bishop. Now, a lot has happened in Australia and in the world in this mere fortnight. First off, Clive Palmer has come clean and admitted that his $50 million election campaign for his United Australia Party was never focused on actually winning seats, but rather on polarising the electorate and persuading voters not to vote Labor. The news that Palmer wasn't actually trying to get any of his candidates elected comes as no surprise to anyone who had even the most cursory look at those candidates, 19 of whom didn't even bother filling out the Electoral Commission questionnaire correctly, meaning that they might not have even been eligible to run. Other UAP candidates included a woman who lied about being a professor, a man who lied about being related to an ex-Prime Minister, an anti-vaxxer, and a man who called the children of taxi drivers future terrorists. Claiming that he was there to win seats was somewhat akin to claiming that you've come to win a swimming race with the intention of winning whilst wearing a bathing suit made entirely of bricks. In Barnaby Joyce news, he was recently bummed to find out that he'd lost his job by hearing it reported on Sky News, making this the first time I've ever been grateful for Sky News. What sweet, sweet schadenfreude it was. Barnaby fired off a sad tweet about the situation, and for a brief moment I felt sorry for him, until I remembered that he's a climate change denying, unrepentant root rat with all the charm and moral fibre of a hole in the ground. I mean, to be fair, it must have been hard finding out that not only had he failed to retain a ministry, he'd been let go from his position of drought envoy. Probably almost as hard as finding out that your husband and father of your 4 children has knocked up one of his staffers and is leaving you for her. Eat shit, Barnaby. In India, the BJP government, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, have swept to victory in the latest Indian election, which just happened to be the largest election ever held in the history of the world. Fun! What's even funner is that the BJP are totally Nazis. Hindu Nazis, to be exact. The landslide win is a devastating blow for the country's minorities, particularly the country's minority Muslim population, who are often a target of the party's ideology. Reports of Indian Muslims being beaten and killed for worshipping openly or eating beef, cows being a wholly protected animal for Hindus, are already rife and look set to increase post-election. Western governments and media seem to have mostly neglected to report on these blatant human rights abuses, but given the riots already taking place in India, how much longer will they be able to ignore the situation? Maybe another 15 years? Yeah. Oh, wait, what's that? India's a major trading partner of most of the G8. Yeah, make it 50. In other fuckery, musician Moby recently pulled off a massive self-own by insisting publicly that he dated Natalie Portman in 1999, despite the fact that she continues to deny that it ever happened, and also despite the fact that if he really did date her that year, this would have meant he was dating an actual teenager when he was well into his 30s. But I mean, hey, if it's good for every assistant manager at McDonald's, it's good enough for Moby. This isn't the first time that a famous man has made a dickhead out of himself going after Natalie Portman. Novelist Jonathan Safran Foer is rumoured to have left his wife for Natalie Portman without getting any indication from Portman first that she was interested in him, and she turned him down. In order to prevent any future incidents of this sort, Natalie Portman has released an exhaustive list of every man that she hasn't dated, and we here at The Leak have obtained a copy. It's very exciting. There it is. On you, Natalie. Now, in rich people with too much time on their hands news, a recent rise in the amount of people trying to summit Mount Everest, combined with some difficult weather, has led to a sudden rise in the amount of climbers dying on their way up. Congestion on the mountain on the Nepalese side has led to massive queues of climbers stuck in what's lovingly known as the death zone, waiting to ascend. Great! Not content with gentrifying Brooklyn and Footscray with our white nonsense, now we're gentrifying death zones. Critics have hit out at the Nepalese government for not limiting the amount of climbing licences given out this year in order to prevent deaths from congestion. But given that summiting Mount Everest takes ages to prepare for and can cost anywhere from $20,000 to $115,000, generally only the very rich can afford to climb the mountain. So for those of us not in the 1%, maybe we should just let them all rush up there and just, I don't know, see how this pans out. I mean, it's much easier to eat the rich when they've frozen themselves into convenient popsicle form. Now, in heavy, horrible news, a woman has been murdered in a Melbourne public place, the 4th woman in the space of a year. Courtney Heron was found in Royal Park on Saturday. Now, we all know that the best way for women to not get murdered is to never leave their homes, but what if you're homeless, like Courtney was? Where are you supposed to hide at all times? Where are you supposed to enjoy your safety then? I mean, if you're homeless, you have to sleep outside and in parks where someone you don't know or might murder you, rather than stay safely at home where a man you know well or in a relationship with or are related to might murder you. It's kind of like Schrodinger's cat, except the cat is a murderer and you don't know whether the cat is inside or outside of the box, and also you're the one who maybe ends up dead, but like you probably should have been more careful. I mean, you know how these hypothetical cats can be. It's just in their nature to be violent. And anyway, what were you wearing? Life is a nightmare. Well, I've been Rose Bishop Barely, and this is The Leap.